I don't know who this message is for, but it's definitely for someone. This is what I hear in my spirit. Don't go back. Don't go back. Don't go back into your old ways of doing things. Don't go back into your ungodly habits. Do not go back into your contrary mindset that is opposing the will of God. Don't go back into your carnal mind. God is bringing you into a land of plenty. He's giving you what it is that you have been asking for, praying for, wanting. It's being delivered to you. This is your season. This is your time to get it. Why would you want to risk the blessing of God for going backwards and stepping into something that he's already delivered you from? He's already brought you out of the toxic relationship. He's already delivered you from wrong ways of thinking. He's already got you on track when it comes to your finances. You're good. He's already put you in a place of peace. He's already delivered you out of the dark place that you were once in. This is what happens a lot of times with believers. God delivers us, and then we feel comfortable. We get confident and comfortable in the deliverance to the point where we get sloppy and we kind of feel like, well, God got me out of that jam. He got me out of that jam. I'm good. He loves me. He favors me. Yes, he does. But understand that God is not to be taken for granted, okay? There are so many things that he has done for you that you really have not been deserving of, myself included, okay? You have to get to the point where you stop going backwards. You have to get to the point where you stay on the path that you're meant to be on. Do you really want to keep starting over? Do you really want to keep having to go back around the mountain again? Do you really want to be in that place of desperate desolation and crying out to God and saying, why has this happened to me? And God deliver me. Listen, so many times we put ourselves in situations that we really do not have to be in. God has already delivered you. He has already brought you to the place that you've been waiting for. And now you are literally you're right at the door of your breakthrough. You're right at the door of what God has promised you. Do you really want to do an entire turnaround and have to start all the way over again? Do you think that you have that much time left? Because, see, we get so accustomed to God throwing us the lifeline, throwing us the lifeline, throwing us a raft, throwing us a rope, and helping us out. And He's our Father, He loves us. But at what point do we take some accountability for the fact that we keep going and getting back in the mud? Listen, this applies to a relationship. This applies to a relationship type, meaning if you already know that you've come through heartache and heartbreak, and this person traumatized your entire heart and devastated your mind just simply by being in a relationship with them, you don't know it when you see it now. Your discernment should be high whenever you come into contact with someone that is like what you have had before. It's no different than if you are violated. Think about it like this. When you're violated as a child, when someone has stolen your innocence as a child, okay, you become an adult and you know it when you see it. You know a molester when you see them. You know a predator when you see them. There's something about their face. There's something about the way they talk. There's something about their movements. You are discerning because you have already been burnt by that demon one time, right? It's no different than anything else in your life. When it comes to decisions that you have made that ended you up in hot water, when it comes to certain things that you may be watching, okay? And you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to certain activities and behaviors that you may be engaging in, when it comes to just going backwards in any situation, in your finances, in relationships, whatever the case is, listen, you owe it to yourself to respect the journey that you have been on in your life, meaning do not ignore the lessons that you've already learned. The enemy would love nothing more than to get you off track, get you sidebarred with something that is in your past, whether it be a mindset, whether it be a person, whether it be a behavior, whatever it is, that is exactly the strategy that he uses. This is where you have to be wise. When you start to slip back into old ways, when you start to, sort of start to compromise again, or you already know God delivered me from that thing. Why am I going back to that? When you start to see yourself doing that, that's the enemy doing that. He is literally, if you can imagine him sitting behind you, whispering in your ear, yeah, God forgave you. It's not a big deal. He ain't gonna punish you. Don't that sound like what happened to Eve in the Garden of Eden? Deception. He is a deceptor. He is a deceptive, cunning demon. Okay, and he can't be trusted. He's a slithering, slimy snake that is on a mission to kill, steal, and destroy. Okay? He wants to steal your testimony. Do you not understand that? He wants to steal your testimony so that you do not have one. He wants to kill the very thing in you that gives you power. He wants to destroy your future. And that is opposite of what the Lord said he has for you. My plans are to prosper you, give you a good future, a good hope, not to harm you. That's the opposite of kill, steal, destroy. Listen, I know in this life we got temptations, we got stuff all around us. There's always something pulling at our attention, pulling at our time. There's always something that we feel like, well, I guess that wouldn't be so bad. But this is why it's so important for you to stay connected to God. You have to stay in his presence. You have to stay before him, because when you do that, it's harder for these outside things to attach to you, okay? It's harder for your ex to call you and be like, can I come see you? It's harder for you to slip back into your wrong thinking, your wrong mindset. It's harder for you to go backwards because you know where you have come from. You don't have time to continue to go in circles. Don't be like a dog chasing his tail, okay? You know the path that you are supposed to be on. You know where you're going, and you know who has you, and that's God. You don't want to forfeit or forsake the blessing, your amazing testimony, your breakthrough. You don't want to forfeit any of that for momentary pleasure, for a momentary lapse in your judgment. Okay. When you know better, try to do better. It's not that you're never going to slip and fall. It's that sometimes you need somebody to say, don't go back. Don't go back in that direction. You know what that caused you. You know the pain and suffering that you had to come through. You know that you barely made it out of that with your mind intact. You know that you almost went crazy. You know that you literally were at the brink of losing your life because you were in a way that God never intended for you. Why on God's green earth would you want to go backwards to a place that has no life in it for you? The only thing that is for you at this moment, in this day and age, and forevermore, is to be in the goodness and the glory of God, to hide under his shadow, to be under his wings, and to be saturated with the covering of his oil, with the blessing of his word, with the shower of his love, with joy and peace attached to you everywhere you go. You don't have time for unnecessary headaches. You don't have time for unnecessary stress. Okay? Do not allow the enemy to attach your old ways back to you. Okay? Move on. That ship has sailed. and you are on to the next thing. And that is the blessing, the favor, the goodness, the power, the love, the joy, the peace, the everything of God. Okay? Be blessed on today. I love you on today. God loves you so much more. Until next time, I'll see you soon.